Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
2 certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only 2 best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go. Hi.
Hey. So you've been hearing us tease you the last few weeks about a promotion that was coming up that we're doing, and now it's happening. It's officially promotional period for Clarity on Fire. We always do a little bit of a holiday something or other, although it's not always the same. So this is our holiday special.
Try to contain yourselves. Pull over to the side of the road and scream if you need to in sheer excitement and joy of the holiday season. Well, there's 2 things going on right now. One is that our Passion Profile short course, which is our intro course, it's like 5-ish hours long. You could do it in a day if you wanted to. You don't have to. It's not
Especially
required.
if you have a little downtime between all the holidays. I know some
Maybe
people
you just like make a cup of tea and you have a fire and you do some personal fucking development.
Maybe that's what you do on New Year's Day.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. Sure.
During the day or at night. We know how I feel about New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I know how you feel about it. You kind of like how you feel about birthdays.
Yeah, basically. Oh yeah, let's celebrate this year where all the things that I didn't whatever. You shut up.
Do you want to take a quick moment to tell people what holidays you do like? Because right now they think you just hate holidays. You hate birthdays. No. You don't like New Year's. What do you like?
Well, I used to like the 4th of July, but then the fireworks scared my dog. And so now I'm less amped about 4th of July, but
okay.
I like the idea of 4th of July.
Maybe like Thanksgiving? Are you into Thanksgiving? I mean,
depending on what family drama may or may not be going down.
Sure.
Same with Christmas.
Any holidays that don't have baggage.
Like theoretically.
Just joy. How about May the 4th?
May the 4th. Great holiday. International Women's Day. Can't go wrong. Arbor Day. Perfect.
Arbor Day. Earth Day?
Sure. Earth Day. I couldn't tell you what day Arbor Day or Earth Day is.
So Rachel's not as much of a holiday person, and it's fine.
No, I no. They're historically too much baggage, and or too much pressure for them to be something that they inevitably fail to be.
Well, if you do in fact like the New Year's holiday,
or you don't, who cares? Who cares? Because you can do personal development regardless of your stance on holidays, Kristen.
That's true. But I like the energy of a New Year's personal development day, whether it's the day before, the first day of the year.
Halloween. By and large, the least problematic, most awesome holiday.
Is she cool with costumes?
Yeah.
Kids in costumes? Okay. All right. So then there we go.
And I love dressing up.
No baggage.
No baggage whatsoever.
There's one holiday.
Yeah, because you don't have to get together with your family and have a meal. You know what I mean? Like you just get to dress up and get candy and shit. Okay. So Halloween, by and large, hands down, best holiday.
Beats Arbor Day.
Beats Arbor Day. Beats Earth Day. Valentine's Day. Let's not even talk about that. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Halloween,
okay. So holiday. You can get the Passion Profile short course for, what did we say? 30% off?
$75
off. Whichever.
It's just lower on our site right now. So instead of it being like $250, it's,
I think it's fair to say
$175.
This is the cheapest it will ever be, because we will be increasing the price.
Yeah.
Once we release the new version, the updated version of the course
in 2022.
And even when we discount it, it probably won't be as low as it is right now. So I think that's a fair statement to say this is as cheap as you're ever going to get it again.
Also, people tell you not to discount your shit, to just give people bonuses and stuff. But then I'd have to be like arsed to create a bonus. So I'm just giving you money back.
This course already has a bonus in it.
Yeah.
So
actually, it's multiple.
I think it has a couple of bonuses in it. So you
think you don't know.
Actually, I know it has
great
two.
Salesperson.
I know it has at least two. So there you go. You already get the bonuses. Now you also get a discount. So that's one thing you can do if you have not yet taken the Passion Profile short course.
People really like it. It's pretty approachable. It doesn't take a ton of time to do it. It helps you eliminate a lot of anxiety and overwhelm that you might be feeling about your career options.
Quick path to some helpful clarity career-wise.
Because like, if there's one thing we should deliver on, it's clarity.
I mean,
otherwise bad branding.
Otherwise a misnomer.
Or arson. I guess we could deliver on that if we really wanted to.
Sure.
But I'd rather not go to jail. Okay. So the second thing is that we're also offering a handful of single coaching sessions, which if you, I don't know, have paid any attention whatsoever, we don't ever do that. We only do coaching as an experience for many months at a time. A
6-month experience.
Yes.
That's usually the only choice you have if you want to work with us.
But we have about 10 single coaching sessions currently on offer. I highly doubt there are 10 because we actually announced this to our list 2 days ago, and I'm sure some people have bought it by now. We're recording this in advance, so we have no idea what the future holds.
And the promotional period goes through December 17th, but I am not convinced these single sessions will last that long.
When they're gone, and we take it off the site.
Yep.
And like, you snooze, you lost. But, you know, if you want a single session, they're very fun. And dare I say, very helpful. I have had a lot of really great single sessions every time we do them.
Yep. Always get feedback that it was incredibly helpful.
It helps if you know what you want to get, you know, if you have an idea of what you want to focus on. If you don't, that's all right. We can help you figure out what to focus on. I mean, we edited out some of that barking, but not all of that barking. You have to deal with a little bit of that barking. Sorry. Okay.
So you have until the 17th for the short course discount. You have, I don't know how long,
until
if you want a single session, probably days, if that. And that's it. That's what we wanted to make sure you're aware of. If you're not on our email list, first of all, you should be. But if you're not and you're first hearing about this now, we have links in the episode description, or you can go to clarityonfire.com, work with us, and you will find both the short course and the single session page there.
There's going to be a separate single coaching session page under the Work With Us tab.
I can add that for about a week.
Oh,
if that. Yeah.
Interesting. You'd be better off just going to the link in the show notes, but you know, do what you want, I guess. Sure. Okay. So this was supposed to have been a normal person episode, but then my normal person and I decided to reschedule it for various reasons that will make it a better normal person episode in 2022. But I could not and was not interested in pressuring myself to find a new normal person under tight time constraints. So instead, I had to get creative, and I thought, well, what can I give the good people instead? And I thought, well, this is like a normal person episode. So if you're not part of our Patreon community, you might not know that we do bonus episodes every month, or most every month we do a bonus episode, not every month. And I have a series with 2 different people. This is one of those series. This is the first in a series called I Quit This Bitch, which is based on the very famous like YouTube video clip of this lady quitting her radio job, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, just put in I Quit This Bitch into YouTube and you'll find it. It's great. It's like it's an epic way to quit your job. And it was about, it came out in, I think, May of this year. And we talked about how I had just quit my part-time gig, and Alex, who is the ambassador of our community, she's the one who kind of is in charge of our community. She was about to quit her job. And we got into all of the facets involved emotionally, literally, figuratively, psychologically, in quitting your job And I thought you guys might like to hear the first in this series. And then, of course, if you want to hear the rest of it.
I was going to say, you two
gotta join our Patreon.
what is it, quarterly updates?
So we've now had 2 more, and it has gone in very interesting directions since we both quit. Especially for her, I think.
If you like the beginning of this story and you want 2 more installments and then the ongoing updates every quarter,
well, link to our Patreon.
Join us in Patreon.
Yeah, it's really cheap. It's like $6 a month, and you can get bonus content for $3 a month.
I was going to say that's the expensive version. Is the $6 a month?
$6 is bonus content, plus you get the community. So you get to do quarterly Zooms with Rachel. You get to do a monthly community meetup with the rest of the members.
You get to join our Discord conversation where we have...
It's our Discord server, Kristen. God, she's so old and out of touch.
Super old, but it's where we actually get to chat mostly every day. We're updating in there and having the conversation.
The conversation, as if it's like one.
It kind of is. It's like one big ongoing conversation
going on. But anyway, yeah. So I will put links to our Patreon in the show notes too, or you can just go to patreon.com/clarityonfire and find it there. But I hope you enjoy this. It was like a more casual, normal person interview because it was originally, recorded for a smaller, intimate group of people. So you might hear me being more frank than I even am on this podcast, which some of you might find funny or not surprise you at all to hear what I'm like when I don't think most people are listening. So enjoy this, and we will be back at the end. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Rachel.
Wow. Here we are on our respective bedroom floors or whatever.
I miss the chaos.
Wait, what?
I'm all pillowed up under my butt.
I know. I need better butt pillows for podcasting. Mine is very thin. And after close to an hour, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm too old for this shit. I think it's interesting that I had the idea to do this, not to toot my own horn. I just mean, I have been encouraging your podcasting affinity for a while now. And now here it has blossomed into you and I co-creating something together, which I think is kind of fun.
What a miracle. Also, you have me thinking that maybe this is a niche we need to get in on, is podcasting pillows.
Oh, like meditation pillows. But is it really that different than a meditation pillow?
Does it matter? Because
I mean, that's true, right? We could just rebrand meditation pillows as podcasting pillows.
Pull a Tom Haverford. Yes. This is now what it's called.
My dream was to be an influencer. Okay. So we're here to talk about, I was kind of inspired to do this because I'm already doing this with Katie around dating, and we're going to do our quarterly check-ins around Hinge and Hot Girl Summer or whatever. And I thought, well, you're planning on quitting your job. My last day of my job is, as we're recording this on Friday. By the time they're hearing it, it's long gone. Yeah. So I was like, this is a good opportunity to touch base on a regular basis about the journey from, in your case, before you quit your job to quitting your job to then checking in around mentally, emotionally, how is it going? I think it's going to be fascinating, or at least that's my theory.
I like that. Yeah, I agree. First of all, love your quitting plan. You beat me to it, and in that way, inspiring me even more. So
accountability is a big part of this. Because you need it. It'll help me emotionally, mentally, stay in a good headspace. But also I think anyone else who's similarly minded around this, thinking about quitting their job, wanting to make a big transition, wanting to move. There's a couple people in the group who are thinking about making big moves. I want to keep people feeling accountable and feeling like big transitions do not have to be scary. Let us demystify big transitions. Maybe that's my thesis statement for this. I just did a rainbow arch over my head, my thesis statement.
I know. And in a way, it's not it's not like an immediate thing. It's something that we both gradually came to. And I think that you knew more than me that this is what I needed to do. And you, in your way, definitely like placed the little, like, I want to say nuggets. That's not the word, but you placed like the little thoughts,
Breadcrumbs?
like slow breadcrumbs. Thank you. I'm just doing the hands that no one can see. Very, very casually and not in a way that's too scary for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But it allows them to get themselves. So
I think we should, because people know a little bit more about my experience having worked. I mean, first of all, your experience is scarier because you're thinking about leaving a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I was I'm leaving a part-time gig. It was not my main source of income. So
right.
It was a good chunk of supplemental income, but it was not my like only or main source of income. Mm-hmm. Your situation is a little bit different. This has been your job for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need, for context, remind people give them your types, your Enneagram, your Myers-Briggs, your Hogwarts house if you want to. Just give them context for your personality.
So I think the most important of all that is the Enneagram, which I'm a type 6. I know that there are a lot of fellow type 6 people who listen to this. So as someone who has been anxious my entire life and highly sensitive, that has been huge. And someone who's always disaster prepping, always think of the worst case scenarios. And then on top of that, out of all the tests that I've taken, it's been ENTJ, the commander, which is very big fire starter energy for the most part. And reading a lot of that, I always felt very strange getting that because I was like, I'm not allowed to lead. At least I haven't been in most of my roles. And so that was like, I was always like this weird fire starter energy. So in your test, I'm a fire starter and tribe member. And then I'm a Slytherin, so.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I love Slytherins. You know what's funny? You and Katie are both Slytherins. So I'm co-producing 2 little mini podcasts with 2 Slytherins. There may be no accident to that. I don't know. Love the limelight.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you're right. The Enneagram is the most important because contextually, I think that matters the most for why quitting is extra scary for you. Because it brings up literally every knee-jerk tendency you have toward catastrophizing, toward running around like the world is going to end. And this is a long time coming. When did I first meet you? Because it's kind of been coming since then, if not way before then.
Which is crazy because we met, I did the PPVE in October of 2018 and then was like, okay, I'm ready to continue this. And then we coached, I think in April, maybe, like whenever you like reopened it. So the fact that you knew then was crazy. Also, I just wanted to say that I had asked a question for Dear Rachel. I was like one of the first ones to ask a question when you had started it about, hey, my coworkers aren't exactly what I thought they were. I don't think I like this job. And like you guys gave some great tips on how to manage that because maybe it was something to stick out because technically I thought the job was okay and it was just the people. And then it became everything. So, but yeah, it's funny that you said that you've known then because when even like in the last couple months, the idea of quitting was so terrifying. We had to do the worst case scenario game of like what actually would happen if I quit or got fired. And it was like physically seizing my body thinking about it. Like I wanted to like pass out. And then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Whatever. Fire me. I don't care. I am more willing to quit than stay, which, doesn't happen overnight. And I think that you really got to get pushed to that point. So I guess.
Do you want to tell people? I mean, I think it would be very helpful or just interesting for people to hear why you finally reached this point of like, I can't do this anymore because you've been tolerating a lot for a long time. And that's why I knew you just couldn't do it. It wasn't sustainable. Just the abusive energy you've been just soaking up for years is just not sustainable.
And not, and not just in this role, in almost every role that I've had in my career has been some form of abuse. It started out not like pretty okay, my very first job, but there were some people that were very like, I don't even want to say bullying, but just like not nice to me. And then it just became like off. There was always good people within, but it's never strong enough because there's always people above them that are more powerful than them that just control the entire experience. So I left college, didn't have a job, and started as an intern, and then got hired full time. I work in production, and production in itself. I can share plenty of articles of when people were and are in COVID and what they would be willing to come back to and like change up, because it's such a toxic and very often an abusive field. And I'm not even in like the worst of it. I'm now in an ad agency, which is the first time I've ever been in one. And I have to deal with clients, which I've never had to deal before. Before it was just networks. I work in video production. I worked for networks, third-party production companies. And I'm with a company where the client owns us. It's not us going out to get clients. And we're like the only team, we're a very small team in the company. And it's not like I can move to another, when you're like a project manager, an account manager, you can move anywhere. But when you're in the one specified, there's only one of your department, there's nowhere to go. So it just became like, I started noticing all of these issues, and I always say this, it became like a Groundhog Day of the same issues every single day. And I always feel like I'm Alice in Wonderland at this like mad tea party that I just stumbled upon. And I'm trying to like be like, hey, what's going on here? And no one is listening to me or thinks that it's strange. And the demands, like one of the most recent was I finally like decided to take off for Christmas. Like it's one of my favorite holidays. And then it was like, oh, CES is coming up. It's all virtual. Can you give up all of your PTO and we'll make it up for you? So I got to work almost all of Christmas Eve, almost all of New Year's Eve, 7 days a week for like 4 weeks, almost 15 hours a day. And they're like, we'll give you comp time. But now the comp time you have to use by June. And I was like, can you like extend it to the end of the summer? They're like, no. So, like there's no, I don't know how specific we want to get with like how, my voice is rarely heard for any of the things that I bring up. I'm constantly like, I think people probably follow like certain Enneagrams on Instagram, like Enneagram Ashton is really great. And there's this list of what type 6 can't handle hearing. And that's literally what I'm told every day. Like, don't worry about it. We'll get like, you're thinking too much about this. Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And I'm like, I'm seeing problems and that's my job to see them. And I'm trying to tell you and forecast them. And you don't want to hear it. In fact, you're gaslighting me and making me feel like I'm crazy. And then those problems always happen anyway. And then it's like never a sorry. It's just like, well, now what do we do? And I'm like, I was already prepared and you told me not to be prepared. And that's like a lot of this job is like, it's gotten so to the point where like, they don't want me to do anything ahead. I can only sit back and literally wait for them to tell me what to do, which is so against who I am. I like to be prepared. I like to be ready for things like when they come, and I can't do any of that because I get almost like scolded for it. So it is just the best way to describe it is this is the bad place. Truly. Like when Eleanor is there and it's like literally everything is playing against all of her worst things. It sounds dramatic, but that's literally my everyday is like playing on the worst things that go against how I'm wired.
Yeah. I mean, that is the bad place though. Like being in any place for so long that is just the opposite of how you're wired is torturous. And then maybe the worst part about it though, is that it makes you start to question your own judgment and your own sanity. Mm-hmm. And like you start to think maybe there's something wrong with me. I mean, that's just, and So I think so much of what we had to do at first was convince you that this isn't normal. You don't have to accept this. This isn't just because this is the experience you've had in like pretty much every working situation. It doesn't mean that this is normal or that this is necessary. It might just be like, you just expect this and you think it's normal. And so therefore you're not asking for more and you're not like shooting for higher or aiming for better. And that's, I mean, we get habituated to certain things and we just think this is how it is. And it's kind of cool to have seen you turn a corner and be like, no, this is not how it's going to be anymore. And I think one of the things I want to talk about that I think you struggled with, and that I think a lot of people struggle with when they're thinking about quitting a job is, how do I have the energy when everything you just described, right? It's exhausting, it's draining, you've been burnt out. It's often just as much as you can do to just kind of do the survival things, let alone kind of thrive and have all of the energy for looking for the next thing. Or even just trying to, not even actively looking for the next thing, but just having the energy to do what it takes to tend to your own energy and your like ability to be receptive for the next thing, like the yoga and, you know, just like even meditating or taking care of your mental health or exercising or moving or eating healthy. Like all of these things are part of becoming healthier and therefore I think becoming a better match to the next thing. But then you don't have energy to do those things. And so then you get even more bogged down in the job. Hence why in your case, we kind of came to the conclusion that I think the only way for you to get there is to quit first. Like there are some situations where you just can't get to that place. You cannot like up level if you're still holding on. If you're like still, I guess, breathing in every day the toxicity of the current thing. Like it's holding you, like it's literally holding you down.
Yeah, absolutely. Even affects like, you know, people say COVID brain and like lack of sleep is definitely a reason. But like you even pointed out to me that like some of this stuff, like I can't even remember things, has to do with there's no space to remember them. I'm literally so stressed out about everything that I have to do with work that my brain can't even function just to do simple things, just remember simple words. And the things that could heal me, I was not having time for. And in a side way, almost using work, even though how painful it was, as almost like a vice not to do, like trying to describe this, like not, almost like knowing work was like the worst, but also using that as an excuse not to take on other things, which I think we could probably talk about in a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Like I found time to do yoga through working from home, which was great. Working from home has like changed my life. And I think it's changed a lot of people's lives. Like no hour and 40-minute commute each way saves me so much time. Rolling out of bed, like working in a comfortable environment, like showed me this whole new way. And that started to allow me to make room for certain things. Because before that, I had no room to take care of myself physically, eat well. I didn't want to eat well. I actually was using like trying to eat snacks as a way to get away from my computer and have an excuse not to work. And I actually found an article recently of someone talking. I didn't even know that a lot of people do that as something where they just, any excuse to get away and take a break can come into the form of eating and like gaining weight. And then you feel that just is another level on your physicality. And no, you're right. Like I really couldn't find the time. And even now it's hard to find the time with how things are. But it's those things that I needed. I need those things to keep me sane, to heal me. And unless I quit, I can't take advantage of those things. So, you know, when you and Kristen started talking about the artist way, that was something that I knew that like I had just come off of It's Not Your Money, and that started it. Like, oh, asking for what you need, being open and worthy of receiving. And then the artist way just kind of started to break things open for me of, oh my God, these things that I want to do creatively might actually be possible. And I think for me, that started to lead the way of like, I think quitting might be an option because now I'm finally seeing that these things that I want to do creatively might actually be possible. Because before, work gets into your head so much that your own you don't even feel worthy of anything because of your environment. For me, that's at least 9 hours of my day. And then with the commutes, that's like 12 hours. So I know I'm like rambling, but it was a combination of like talking to you, starting to do yoga and making that something that I put my foot down and wake up and do every morning, and finding that release, finding meditation, and then doing something like the Artist Way and realizing, oh my gosh, these dreams of mine might not be like impossible. And how can I get there? And maybe like quitting my job might actually be the way to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is where your and my paths are kind of converging now, because I'm not walking away from something miserable or something toxic. Like, I'm walking away from something very easy and comfortable that logically makes no sense for me to leave, because it's 20 hours a week. I'm not working 20 hours. Like, does anyone actually, I mean, I don't know, maybe you do, but I'm like, most people who have 40-hour a week jobs aren't sitting there working 40 hours. Like, that's just not how it goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't had to work all 20 of those 20 hours. And so it's like, why can't you just keep doing that and collect the paycheck? But I just have to hammer home that it doesn't, the actual time is one form of measurement. The other form of measurement is the energy. And when someone owns 20 hours of your time, the energetic commitment is still there. Like, energetically, they still own, quote unquote, 20 hours of my life every week. And that was feeling so heavy. And I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but correct me if I have, but I started to feel like I felt with, oh my God, like about a decade ago, when I broke up with one of my college boyfriends, who I had been wanting to get out of the relationship for like a year, and I hadn't done it. I was just like continuing up because I had so much doubt and confusion. But I just, at the end, it got to the point where my body was there and my mind and spirit were gone. Like, I was clocking in and clocking out of that relationship, but it was like, I was miles away spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And I was starting to feel like that with this job. Like, my body's here, my mind and spirit are kind of graduated, and it doesn't feel awful. But once I have that realization, I'm not the kind of person who can like keep doing it when I'm realizing like I have basically like split into two versions of myself here. Like, my mind and spirit are somewhere else right now, and my body is here. And so I kind of had to go. But one of the things January when I really started being like, I really want to quit. And it was May when I guess late April when I actually made the decision to quit. So it took me few months to get to the point where I actually pulled the trigger. And what you said is kind of the conclusion I came to, I think, as well, which was I didn't want to quit without like a solid intention and reason. And until I realized what I was moving toward, that's what made the transition. Like, that's what made the flip switch in my mind. The switch flip in my mind was, there are things that I am not doing that I could be doing. And once I identified those things, like creatively, things that might be more exciting to me, like writing a book, producing my own podcast, maybe trying my hand at dating coaching, some other things that I could potentially, be open to, then it was like, oh, I want time for those things. But until I articulated that, it was like, it felt more like I was running away from something, or that I was being classic type 4, which is the knee jerk of a type 4 is often to be self-indulgent and to like treat yourself to things because your life is so hard, and it's like harder than other people's lives. So it's like, I was like, am I treating myself to not having a job? Which is like the biggest indulgence you can imagine. It's like tens of thousands of dollars worth of indulgence, right? Like, I could have bought myself like a car or something with that, like a really nice car with that. But then that's how it felt when I didn't have anything I was moving toward. So people know what I'm moving toward. That's what I think I'm moving toward now. I have assumptions that it will grow and evolve and change as I do it.
you've kind of hinted at what you're moving toward, but I think you should be more explicit about like, what was it that the artist way started to catalyze in you? What are you moving toward now?
Yeah. And I just want to preface by saying that you did like 1% of the artist way, and you guys talked about like, oh my God, I had a million ideas. And I was like, oh, give me some of that. Because I felt so blocked. That's one of the things too, is that there was nothing for me to move towards, because there was nothing for me. When we were coaching, it was like, why don't we try looking for a bridge job? Why don't we try looking for applying to things? I applied to a couple of things. One day I felt a lot of energy. I found some good job descriptions. And then it started to really get like, I didn't even know how to tell you, where it was like, Rachel, every job description I read makes me enraged. Like I don't, because all I can picture is what I'm doing now somewhere else with the same person, just with a different name and a different face. And it's going to be the same thing where I have no voice and I'm just someone's lackey and someone's secretary. And I can't imagine that for myself. So I was like, there is creativity in me, and how do I get it out? Because yoga is a first step, but it's not enough for me. There's stuff in there. So I started reading The Artist's Way, and at first, like nothing happened. I was like, I'm doing the morning pages, and I'm like, great. I can write 10 pages.
I'm getting a lot of emails about this isn't working. I'm doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like because classic type 6 freak out. I must be doing this incorrectly.
Because there are certain pieces of homework that I just can't do. I can't answer. I don't even know the answers to them. So for me, like, I'm like, Rachel did such a small amount of this. She got so much out of it. And I'm like trying to do all the homework, and I'm so not there. And you giving me permission to be like, you're doing it right. Even if you don't, do every piece of homework. That's so type A, like must type 1, must do all the homework, must do everything. If I'm going to get out, because if I don't do all of it, then I'm not getting all of it. I'm almost like half-assing it. But I started to get all these ideas, like maybe, like you were pushing me, like maybe you should do a podcast. I was like, okay, what's that podcast going to look like? Then I was like, I'm doing yoga. What if I taught yoga? What if I used all my like sarcasm and existential crisis to do like, what if I started a YouTube channel and it was like about 4 people who are going through job, relationship, home, life crisis, and we do yoga together, very candidly dealing with our crisis. So I just like went online and I was like, how do I get into this? And I found this New Jersey teaching group. And like the first thing I saw was a retreat in Moab, Utah. And I was like, wait a minute, this is one of my favorite places on earth. Is this a sign? And then it was like, wait a minute, maybe my path isn't trying to find another job where I'm going to be squished into something that I know, I just foresee it. And I'm trying not to be a baby about it, but I'm like, it's just the same old stuff. And realizing like, I don't think that I can report to someone anymore. All this time, I was like, I'm a fire starter, but I don't even know what I want to do. And now it's like, I'm a fire starter. I'm not taking orders right now. And if that means not working, great, because I'm done. I need to take a break, reset my brain, follow one of these paths, and move forward. And another thing is like writing. Like as I'm reading The Artist's Way, I'm like, I've had all these stories for years that I've never done, and it seems so impossible. Now, like as I read each chapter, I'm like, maybe it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can just do it. Why am I so? Just do it. Like I'm not there yet. I'm slowly making my way, but yeah, it's leading me. The goal right now is to, once I quit, maybe take on this yoga training course. And I will say, we haven't talked about this yet. It's so funny. It's because I'm still very nervous about signing up for it. It's something that I think I have till like June 1st to sign up for. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I almost feel like that decision to take this course and being like, cool, I can quit and at least I'll have something to do. almost makes me feel like I don't even need the course. So I don't.
That. Yeah.
So it's like, do I still want to do this? I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I'm afraid or I don't need it. Because I was like watching a 25-minute video on what the course is like. I was like, oh my God, I got to do some student teaching classes. I'm a little nervous. So I'm trying to decide whether I'm just too nervous or if if that just gave me the push to quit and now I don't need it anymore. So I don't know if you've felt that.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like that part in Untamed, when Glennon's talking about, I think Glennon's talking to Liz Gilbert about wanting to leave her marriage and be with Abby. And Liz is like, listen, whether it's Abby or whatever, like it's an Abby-shaped door that you can walk through into your new life. And that might be the thing forever or it might not be.
Right.
And so like, this is a yoga teacher training shaped door. And maybe maybe it ends up being something you commit to. And maybe you realize just the idea of doing it opened up your mind to possibilities. And that's literally all you needed. Maybe.
Yeah.
You'll have to decide by June 1st and you have accountability because we will record another one of these in August and you'll have to tell us like what you're doing.
Yeah.
At least then, though I'm sure you'll be talking, but I'm sure people will probably hound you about it, like in Discord or something or on the community calls because you're going to have like 2 months to account for that after June 1st.
I know it's so weird. It's like I'm having a hard time deciding because it's also like if I don't do this on my unemployment, then what am I doing? I have things I can do, but I kind of liked this being its own job. So I don't know. And it's so funny. It's almost like the feeling I have with yoga sometimes where it's like, all right, yeah, tomorrow I am ready to do it. And then I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then when I finally get around to doing it, I'm like, I'm so glad I did it.
I mean, right. Exactly.
So
yeah. Well, or like writing. I don't know who originally said it, but it's like, I hate writing, but I really love having written.
Right.
I think that could very well be going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I really still want you to do bullshit yoga with Alex. Where like, it's like just foul mouth New Jersey, like stuff. And we're getting real and we're not like trying to be Zen. And we're like dropping F-bombs while we're doing hard poses. Like I would find that so cathartic. I would definitely subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Thank you. Yeah. It's all about, your boss is trying to write you on a Saturday. We're going to go down into goddess pose and think about how we're going to answer this email. So ignore. So
just like chant fuck you while you're breathing.
Yeah. And with the good shit out with the bullshit. So
yes. So, okay. Can we talk about fears and like concerns and mitigating the worst case scenarios? Because that's, I mean, I was feeling really nervous and what helped me was, I didn't really have anyone to talk to about my money fears, like in an official way, but I was talking it out with some friends, and one of my friends has an acquaintance who is a financial planner, but she's a millennial and she specifically works with other millennial women business owners. So I was like, yes, this girl will understand me. I'm not like, all respect. I'm not going to meet with like my stockbroker uncle who like manages my investments because he's in his 60s. He's a white conservative man in his 60s. Like he's not, I'm not going to talk about like my decision to quit my job with someone who's not going to be simpatico with me. Right. So I talked to her and she, I like gave her some like basic numbers and she was like, I can't tell you what to do, but I think that you can totally go for it if you want to. Like so that helped validate me. And then, because of course, my car starts acting up like in the last week.
Yep.
And I have fingers crossed. I'll let you know. It's getting an oil change tomorrow, and I'm going to ask them to be like, can you please examine why whenever I'm driving for longer periods of time at high speeds, it acts like it's working really hard.
It's shaking.
It's whining. It's like, and I'm like, this is not good. This can't
It's
be
crying.
good. Yeah. It's like, I can't go another mile. So, well, and I'm like, of course this had to happen. The week before I'm quitting my job. Like, what if they're like, I'm sorry, you need a new transmission or something? Like, I mean, you do what you have to do. But
It's
shit
scary.
like this is going to happen. Like, shit like this does happen when you're about to make a big transition. And I don't know that I believe that the universe tests us, because I feel like that conflicts with my feelings about what the universe really is, which is a benevolent force. And I don't know that test is the right word. But sometimes I do think that it's like, okay, how badly did you say that you wanted to do this again? Like, like, here's an opportunity to flex your trust and your faith muscles that you say are so important to you. And, to remember, it's not your money, as Tosha would say. Like that, okay, if your car needs a lot of work, then yeah, sure, you might have to spend a chunk of the savings that you had set aside so that you could do this. And you know what? That money could come in another way. And you have to like let go and trust that can happen. Like, so
yeah, that is, yep. And that always happens. I think we almost have to now always think in a way that way, because it's like, it's never not happened where it's like, I'm going to quit my job. Oh, my car just broke. Maybe I should stay. No. No.
No. Too late for that anyway. Like, I've already wrapped everything up. Like, it's done, right? Like, I'm gone. I have to keep going.
Exactly. So I think that we just have to know with any big decision that there's going to be these yes, the roadblocks are coming. Don't think that they're not. Like, case in point, before we started this, whatever, I committed to this wedding. And are there flowers anywhere? Probably not. There might be no flowers.
We got flower shortages. Flowers, FLOWERS. In case anyone is thinking that you're not going to have a cake because there's no FLOUR.
Gluten-free, I guess. Gluten-free. Got to keep moving. And it's like, there might not be flowers. Well, I guess just go to Trader Joe's. Don't have time for this. Gonna keep moving. So
go to Michael's and get a nice plastic bouquet or something.
Got to be on Amazon, just ordering some fake flower. Yeah, I don't care anymore. It's whatever. But that's always, and I'm sure when I, finally put in my notes and quit, I'm sure that something else is going to come up. But I'm also in a very, we had to discuss worst case scenario. But when we discussed worst case scenario, there were things that I hadn't even considered. So I'm in a very, not everyone is in the position that I'm in where, and you know what? No one needs to be in the position that I'm in, where I had a childhood trauma that that gave me a settlement, which is partially for the wedding. And I, in my mind, I'm saving the rest of it. We got to get a house. We got to do all this, but you know what? And I didn't want to touch it, but I'm going to tap into it. I think one of the things too to understand is that, I'm quitting my job. This is not forever. This is literally like,
right.
You can't act like, I'm never working again. That's good for some people.
Statistically impossible that you would somehow quit and intend to work again and then never get another job. Like, how you would have to be the unluckiest bitch on the planet, and not even you can qualify for that.
No, you gotta. Yeah, the amount of my friends who've been at jobs where they fired almost everyone and then they've gotten promotions, outrageous. Outrageous. The amount of people who got, even on your podcast, like who've been like, well, everyone's getting fired or I'm quitting. Whoops, got a job the next day. So, I mean, the proof is there. It's easy to say, and you just have to start to lean into that. But yeah, for me, it was like, all right, I'm going to quit my job. Then I can't afford my place. And then Dan and I are going to have to I'm going to have to sell my place and move in with Dan. And then he's going to support me. And then we can't buy a house or we went down the whole spiral. And you know what? I absolutely recommend everyone do the worst case scenario game. I try to play it all the time. It really helps put stuff into perspective. And I've done it with a couple of people recently. And they've just discovered at the end of it, I could get this new job. Randomly, new career at the end of the game. So for me, I played that. But then, even then I was like a little nervous, like, uh-oh, I don't know. And then suddenly one day, it just like all mounted up where I was like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. I don't want to send another email. I don't want people to ask me to book another meeting. I am done. My fire starter energy, like a phoenix, rising out of me. I wondered where she was, and she's coming out now. So, yeah, it is very scary. It is very like I'm free falling, but also we put it into a very big perspective, very like significant perspective of, hi, why are you acting like you're going to be unemployed your whole life? This is just supposed to be a quick, literally taking the summer off. That's what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Which is everyone's dream. Who doesn't want to have that like high school life where you're like, I'm off for the summer. I don't have any kids right now. And when else am I going to do it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah. So I just want to highlight what you said about using this money that you have had saved for such a long time, part for your wedding. And then it was supposed to be for like adult things, like buying a house or just having a big savings so that in case anything happened, or maybe having kids or something like that. And I remember telling you, listen, like, do you want to have, if you want to have a kid, do you want to have a kid while you're in this job? And you're like, hell no, I literally couldn't do it. Like, I am burnout and at my wit's end all day. I could literally not have a kid and do this job. So like that money is not going to be used for that as long as I'm here.
Exactly. I think that's the thing too, that people, I had to explain to some people, I'm like, I hate this job. You imagine adding a baby to it? I have to work 9 hours. No one cares about me. None of my feelings, none of my life. Imagine adding now a baby to it. They don't care. That'd be horrible. I'm already stressed out enough. You know what I need even more? Lack of sleep and another human being to keep from dying. That sounds good. No.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, after doing all this work, like literally, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's like trusting the process. It's like in my dream, this money that I'm using will come back to me. I don't know how, but it's going to happen. I got to believe it. So,
okay. So let's talk about in 3 months when we get back together to talk about how the last 3 months have gone. Let's start with you. When are you quitting? Let's start there.
I know this is like very nerve-wracking because
I know this is public accountability.
The stuff is piling up. Someone just in the hallway mentioned to my boss, "Oh, you heard about the concert we're doing?" And I'm like, he's telling me this. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be here. Like, I can't, it's just getting worse. So it's like, we get paid on the 25th of the month. We get paid once a month because, what joy, more joy once a month. So
right.
I'm like, all right, do I quit like the 25th? That way I definitely get my check for the month. And then, give them that 2 weeks. Because apparently if you do that, you get they try to pay out your days. Because there's no way for me. I literally think I have 40 hours of PTO. There's no way for me to use it. So, I think the plan, for a while I had this date of July 8th in my head. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'd like to definitely be quit. I like to be quitting by July 15th. I keep extending it, which is like, stop that.
Don't do that.
Like,
what are you doing?
I know. I'm feeling the guilt. So between July 8th and July 15th, that's the dream. And my mom said to me, "You're going to wait that long?" And I was like, "Oh, was I supposed to quit and like end it in June? Maximize my summertime?" I don't know. Cause
summer's half over on July 15th. What are you talking about?
I don't know. What's wrong with me? So, I mean, and we also talked about the fact that I could be like, "Hey, I'm quitting." And they'd be like, "Today's your last day." And then I'll be like, "Yeah, thanks. Cool. Same."
I think we have to plan for that given where you work.
Yeah.
Like they could totally do that to you.
Fine. Here's the laptop. I got to come back again because I don't have all my stuff. So have a good
fun
day.
planning your concert. Bye.
Plan your concert. Bye. So, so that's the plan. And then where do I anticipate, in a dream world, I'll get my stuff together, be excited about this yoga course. That's 2 days a week. And really get into that. And I hope if I'm not doing something like podcasting, I really hope I'm going to have the energy, the space, and the confidence to write. Because I think my fear is that I take this time off and don't do those things, which I think some people, people are like, oh, I'm going to do this when I quit this thing. I'm going to read all the books and fill the shows.
Yeah. I have a similar kind of fear around some of that. Yeah. Which is why I conned us into doing this so that we had to be publicly accountable to a group of people. And when we do this again, we have to report something. So you're going to be thinking about that. You're going to be like, oh shit,
we've got homework.
The entire group is going to wonder what I'm doing right now.
I got to send my report in. Yeah. So that's the dream. And then I'm trying not, I'm going to be maybe doing some life of leisure because right now it's a life of stress 24/7. So the dream is to in finding leisure and accepting stillness, leaning into stillness, I will have the space and the wherewithal and the want to start writing. And I'm almost kind of wanting to do the artist way right again. I'm on week, I think 9. I might want to redo it because now I really have time to do the homework.
Yeah.
And maybe better answer some of the questions. So
just peel back that next layer, Because you clearly got some stuff moving the first time.
Yeah. And then if I do it again, then I'm one step away from doing it a third time. And then I'm ready to eat, pray, love like Liz Gilbert.
I mean, I'd sure like to make a cool $15 million or however much she made from that book. At least that much.
At least.
I mean, we're not even talking about the movie option. So, okay. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I have it. Okay. It's a challenge for you. If you do end up doing yoga teacher training, you should do a bullshit yoga class for the Clarity on Fire group for one of our community calls every month. Would that not be genius?
Okay. I want you to know that driving back to my house, I said, please show me a sign if I need to do this course or not, because I'm on the fence. I'm so nervous. I need a sign. There you go.
Is this it? Was that it?
I think it might be. Why not?
Was that the thing that pushed you over? Was oh, I got to do that.
Yeah. Why not? I really was I don't know what is my purpose. Show me a sign that I need to be doing this. All right. Well, you know what? Maybe, yeah. Thank God for this podcast.
Accountability, man. It really helps to say out loud, I'm going to do this thing and have a couple, if not more people know that you're going to do it, because this is the one place where shame can be a slightly good motivator, because I don't want to tell these people, oh, I didn't do that. Sorry. And let you down.
I want you to also know I did tell a lot of people that I was doing the course, and I was like, yikes, I already told so many people I'm doing it. And now I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but whatever. I should totally do it now. What's your plan for you?
Well, hold on. Are you going to get to go to Moab if you do the course, or is that a separate thing?
I don't know if you can go to Moab separately, but that's the thing is I'm not ready to give up the Moab dream. That's in October. And another thing is this is the most time I'm going to have. I need to do the course now. This is it's
Wait, when are you ever going to do it again?
Right.
And are you going to be 80 years old and thinking, man, I wish I hadn't done that yoga teacher training that summer. The only thing you're going to be saying if you're 80 years old is, damn, I should have I should have done that yoga thing when I was young and limber.
I know. Well, maybe I will be limber because I did it. And I'm
exactly. That's so true.
In my goddess pose, what a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that 80-year-old question I use all the time when I'm thinking about making big changes and decisions. It's when I am an elderly person, am I going to have regretted this? And there's no way that at 80 years old, I'm going to look back on this decision to quit my 20-hour-a-week job and go, no, you really should have been reasonable and sensible and stayed with that job. No, my 80-year-old self is thinking, you go, girl, write a book, produce your own podcast, try your hand at something new. So that's really my plan. What's interesting is that when I quit, my job, I was like, listen, I feel like there's still some money I could squeeze out of this. And so I was like, I pitched working on like projects on a contract basis for them because I'm like, they're going to have a hard time replacing me. And they said that they were like, we're going to have a hard time replacing you. I'm like, yes, I know. I created this role for myself. It's for me. That's why you're going to have a hard time replacing it. Yeah. But I am actually having a meeting on my last day to talk about the details, but I'm like, there's some extra money right there. I'm going to be paid at a higher hourly rate. I get to say no to things I don't want to do. I don't have to, my time is still mine. So I'm still going to do some work for them, but it's going to be all on my terms now. All on my terms.
What a pivot.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, that's also a thing. Like quitting doesn't have to mean like cold turkey. It can also mean like transitioning into something that just works better for you and is more on your terms. That's not possible with your job. Because they're not amenable to that kind of conversation.
I was already ruminating in my brain. How can I do this at my job?
No. I got to just tell you right now, like, no, it's not possible. Not in that abusive environment.
They might ask, they'd be like, what if we just pay you for this project? I got to run away.
No, that would be the opposite of progress for you. But it's no big deal for me to do that. And I'm going to have so much of my life back. I'm going to try not to change my schedule too much though. I'm going to try to keep, so I've been working like all day for them Monday and Friday and half a day on Tuesday. So I'm going to try to keep Mondays and maybe part of Fridays, if not all of Fridays, if I can, sacred and try not to schedule coaching calls on those days so that I can actually focus on the other things that I want to do. So there's a lot. I mean, we're doing a rebrand and Kristen's like writing the Passion Profiles book and I've been editing that. And I'm going to have so much more time to actually dedicate to revamping. That's a big focus of mine. But really, like what I'm going to be really disappointed in myself if I haven't made any progress on by the next time we talk is like my personal creative project, which is writing my book / podcast, which is in short, an autobiographical tale of my journey through singledom. The working title is Forever Alone. And
I love that.
The subtitle is one millennial's half agonizing, half hopeful journey through singledom.
I love it because I mean, who among us has not used the hashtag Forever Alone?
Well, my brother literally says that to me all the time as if it's funny. So I'm taking it back. You know what I mean?
Right. But I definitely use that in a non-ironic, this is what's happening to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's where it's coming from. But every chapter is something I had to get. I'm conceiving it as every chapter is something I had to work through and get over in order to become a match to what I really want. But in a funny storytelling way, not in a like, this is how you do it, but in a like, this is my life. This is the story of how I did it. We're going to go back to like awkward high school shit. Like we're going to just do it all.
Selfishly, I love this idea because I'm, such a Clarity on Fire fan. So the idea of like new content, revamping, books, new podcast, like give me all the stuff. I selfishly want this to happen so I can get more content and ingest it.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I will have a lot more space to have ideas. I mean, that's part of what's going to happen, I think, for you and me is that when you give yourself more space, it's a breeding ground for new inspiration and new ideas. Like we're definitely going to come back together in August and we're going to be saying stuff that we could not have, that we did not conceive of today. Like for a fact, you're going to be like, well, I had this idea and I did this thing and it led to this and I didn't expect that. And it's very hard to have that experience if all of your day and all of your time is being taken up by bullshit that drags you down. Like where is the space for like air to get in anywhere? Like, and by air, I mean like literally like inspiration to get in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, I imagine it's funny thinking the parallels of when I left college in a great depression because I had like this great social life, all of these friends, I was constantly with them, and leaving that behind and having a summer of like, I have no plans, I have no job, I am panicking. And now going into this, like so excited to have no plans and to like find myself. And I feel like almost, I know I'm mentally preparing myself is that it's not going to all like happen to me. Like Monday through Friday, don't know what it's going to look like. It might really not be too much in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to also like do that, like not plan too much. That way.
Yeah. Don't overcommit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get over like ambitious about what you think you can do, because then you're going to have a crash and you're going to be like, why am I not doing enough? Like, that's not the point. The point is not to like crush it.
Right. Enjoy the stillness. And through that, you find a lot. So I want to quote the Sound of Metal. So bad. It's like that moment. There's this moment in the Sound of Metal where he's like making a decision to stay or not to stay at this this rehab for deaf people who are addicts. And the whole thing that his mentor is trying to teach him is like, you're chaotic. You're not sitting in the stillness. He makes him do morning pages. And he's like, you need to appreciate the stillness because in that is the kingdom of God. And it's not even, that's not even something that I took as a religious thing. It's just your paradise.
Yeah. It's where you
awaits you in the stillness.
Yeah. It's where your true self is. It's where like your connection to source is, whatever you conceive of quote unquote source as being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how many of us, because I was definitely one of those people who could not meditate at all. It is so chaotic.
I remember that.
And now I tell people, I'm like, I live for the moments that I can find stillness at this point because it is so chaotic that is the only time I find peace. And before it was like, I can't.
You were having like a detox reaction to meditation, right? Like when you sat down to meditate, it was bringing up all of the shit that needed to be healed, which is what it's supposed to do when you haven't done it before and when you've got a lot of crap in there that needs to get out. And when you do it long enough, then you have the experience that you're having of peace.
Yeah. And taking the moment to find that peace is so like enriching. And I don't know how to explain, and it's not my job to explain to people how to get into meditation, but literally the one thing that helped was Headspace and just literally listening to their sleepscapes, which are just stories being told to you in a very soft voice with very calming music. And I was like, I can get down to this. And then you just take it to the next step. What? A 3-minute, 5-minute how to wake up in the morning. They talk you through how to wake up, or they talk you through once you close your laptop, how to get out of the workspace mind. Amazing. Highly recommend.
Okay, so there you go. On that note, one of my other intentions is to heal my relationship with sleep, which is, if you're a big listener to the podcast, a slightly chronic problem. I mean, I'm never going to be like low maintenance when it comes to sleep, but it's definitely been, I just feel like it could be better. I could be sleeping and resting more deeply. And I really wonder if not having 2 jobs could instantaneously just like improve the quality of my sleep, because my mind is going to have one less thing to like fixate on and focus on and bounce back and forth. And also I just love freedom, and I'm going to feel more aligned, and that's naturally going to lend itself to me like feeling better and rest and being able to like relax like on a cellular level. But I'm not going to have as many excuses now to not do things that actually lead to better quality sleep. Like take walks, like take really more. I've a couple of times in the past week, I've taken really early morning walks, and then like later in the morning, taken Scarlett for a walk because she's not a fan of walking. And so walking with her is not like an exercise or even sometimes that enjoyable, because I'm just like pulling her along half the time while she kind of, if dogs could grumble, she would just be grumbling behind me. So that, and being able to like go to bed I'm pretty good at going to bed at early, but just, maybe not looking at my phone for right before I fall asleep and right when I wake up. And also just being open to like, if there's some sort of sleep book or sleep course or like something that comes up that's like, or a supplement or like hey, maybe you do a slightly different diet regimen to help heal sleep stuff. I'm down. And I want to be open to that. And I think with more space, you become a magnet for things that are like going to help you up level. And I think that's my next, like physically, mentally, emotionally, what would help me up level more than being well rested. So that's one of my biggest intentions beyond just like the stuff we talked about.
Are you going to move beyond the one earplug and the shirt over your head?
No, that's never going to change. Though I will say that sometimes, so if Scarlett's not here, because every other weekend or so, my dad takes her because they're soulmates. And so when she's not here, because I don't have a guard dog, I don't sleep with earplugs and I can sleep perfectly fine without them. It's totally mental. Like it is 100% mental, but I don't want an earplug when she's not here because I need to be able to hear intruders. So,
okay.
Yeah, no, it's totally mental. But that kind of tells you what my problems probably are, which are mostly anxiety related. Like that's most of my sleep issues probably. So anyway, but I want to work on healing that and just moving my body more generally, like having more flexibility to like properly exercise, not just do like a 30-minute workout. Because that's all I can do, but actually like really getting sweaty, I don't do that often. And I know it would help with my mental health and with sleep. So
how much does sweating suck? It's the worst. I hate it.
Working out. I've always hated working out. I wish I liked it. And I'm not opposed to one day becoming someone who really likes it. I just have yet to become someone who really enjoys it. I find it to be punishment. I'm like, why would I like put myself into pain? Like, why would I sign up for that? Like, why would I volunteer for this discomfort? But then again, I'm doing that like on an emotional level all day, every day. I'm like, oh, that's fine. But some people avoid emotional pain the way I avoid physical pain. And I get that. I understand that.
It's just, no, I'm in the same boat with like crazy sleep. And then also like I do yoga and then try to move to more like, bar method and more like interval workouts through another bar method type class. But if there's push-ups, most of the time I'm like, I'm not in the mood. No.
Right.
Not doing a push-up.
Right. Never felt
Get out.
I never woke up in the morning and been like, oh, I feel like doing a push-up today.
No, that's why I go to yoga because for the most part, there's no push-ups. So I'm like, okay, but it's funny. You talk about your sleep issues. I have my own where it's like, and I read about it recently. Apparently they're finally talking about it where you are tired, but you force yourself not to sleep. I
saw that. Yeah. It's like you're throwing a tantrum at night because, or something weird.
Yeah.
Like this weird rebellion.
It's a rebellion against like almost like work took my whole day and now I'm taking it back even though I'm exhausted. But I've been doing that for a long time and meditation has helped. But I go through and that's a whole anxiety thing about I'm not going to sleep. Like I refuse to go to sleep. And also I have issues when I sleep. So it's like delaying the inevitable of things that I have like GERD. Like that's not knowing you're going to go to sleep and wake up choking. Hey, I'll just stay up,
Ooh.
But that's a whole other thing. But I totally get your sleep issues and hopefully you'll find the one earplug in the shirt. I die. I love it. It kills me.
One of my clients heard that and emailed me afterward and was like, oh my God, I turned around, went back home. I was on a walk, played this for my boyfriend because beat for beat, you and him have the exact same sleep pattern.
Isn't that kind of comforting?
She was like down to the face shirt and the one earplug. like the white noise machines, like the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God.
Is there a Facebook group?
I feel slightly less crazy.
That's amazing.
So like, I mean, I feel bad for him because I'm like, oh, I get it. It sucks.
There's dozens of us.
But that's the thing is like, I think I want to stop affirming, like, I'm bad at this. I suck at this. Like, because the more we talk about something being hard, we're just affirming a reality that I don't want to be true. So I've actually been saying a mantra, which is just very simple. Like, my sleep is healing. Like just repeating that to myself, which actually helps me fall. It's like if I wake up and I'm having trouble falling back asleep in like the early morning, I'll like repeat that a couple times. And I think it helps me relax and fall back asleep sometimes. So anyway.
I love that. I'm stealing that.
Okay. So, well, I wrapping it up here. I think we'll check back in August. It'll be right around my birthday. We'll do a check-in. Be like
a secret day.
The week before, maybe.
Oh my.
Probably. If it's 3 months from this week, it'll be like right before my birthday. So, which you know how I feel about birthdays, but it's fine.
Anything can happen. You might feel differently this year.
That's true. Well, I can change in 3 months, right? So we'll check in about the progress that we've made, freakouts that we've had. Like, you will actually be able to report back on what it was like to actually leave and the first few weeks and months of you settling into a new routine. And did she do yoga teacher training? We're going to be left with this cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun.
But this was really fun. Thank you. I'm glad we're doing this.
Same. Because, this is just and this gives me the motivation for maybe my podcasting future. We're all there.
Yeah, exactly. We're planting a lot of seeds here. So, all right. Well, if you're listening to this, thanks for being on this ride with us. Leave a comment on Patreon or talk about it amongst yourselves on Discord. I don't care where we have the conversation, but let's talk about it. What resonated with you? Is this making you want to quit your job? What big transitions can we demystify for you? Let us discuss in the comments or on Discord. And I don't know when we're posting this, so I don't know. We'll see you on the next community hangout, probably.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
It occurs to me that the people are going to ask for an update from you.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Because this is the first episode since that we're recording.
Yeah. This is the first episode since I got married.
Yeah, I think it's very odd. I don't know that I'm going to ever adjust to that.
That's okay. Maybe eventually when I think
you might be
married
60 before I adjust.
Longer than you've known me unmarried, but that's going to take a long time.
That's going to take 15 years.
Yeah, that's going to take a while. Yeah. I've been married 3 days now. Weird. Cool. It all went well. I planned it in, I think it was about 7 weeks and went off without a hitch. Well, there was one hitch.
Well,
in the rehearsal, the dogs were supposed to come to the rehearsal and one of them got loose and ran all around the neighborhood.
So if you're wondering if Kristen is a person who has dogs in her wedding, she is.
Well, the answer was one in the end because one got cut from the roster because she escaped.
I mean, it's the same premise. Like, are you a dog person? Are you or are you not someone who wants a dog in your ceremony? Mine would have been a resounding no.
Well, wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure that the dog behaved. I was not anti-dog in the ceremony, but I was anti-crazy jumping dog distracting everything. But he did a very good job. I have to give him credit. Maybe it's because he ended up getting, I think, a double dose of CBD oil.
You said it was a triple dose.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. I was just heard that he got an extra large dose of doggy CBD, bacon flavored. So I'm sure he was thrilled with that. So he was very chill for the ceremony. So it all worked out. But yeah, other than a dog getting loose at the rehearsal, everything went well. No hitches. It was great. I didn't want it to end, frankly. And me in a party, I normally want them to end, but I didn't want this one to end.
I was pleased that it ended at 8:45.
Well, that's my kind of party.
I was like, great, time to go home now.
Well, we didn't party until the wee hours. We partied till just shy of 9 p.m.
Yep.
And it was great. It was wonderful.
you appreciated my speech.
Rachel gave a speech.
Or was it
It was like a long toast. Nobody gave speeches so much as I think it was.
It wasn't even a long speech for me.
Toasts. No, I mean,
it could have been longer.
Anyone listening to this knows that we could talk. But no, it was a few minutes. It was good. It was entertaining. I think everybody laughed.
You think everyone laughed?
I know everyone laughed
many times. There were so many punchlines in it.
And the biggest was that Rachel gave us our own celebrity couple name. So you all know us as Crachel, but now I'm also one half of Crames.
You choose which one you like better.
Neither is particularly flattering sounding, but you take what you get. But yes, it was very good. I think casually a couple of them had come up, but none of them sounded good, so none of them stuck. But I think Crames will stick
I hope
now
it
that
doesn't, because it's kind of ugly. But
now that you toasted to Crames.
It's not official until you have a podcast. So
I don't think he and I will ever have a podcast.
I can't imagine what you would talk about on a podcast.
That's just fine. I don't even know.
You don't even want to have this podcast sometimes.
I'm not as much of a podcast
She's
person.
not anti most things. She's not anti having your hot dog in the wedding. She's not anti podcast. No. She'll do it if you want to do it. That's Kristen. She'll do a podcast with you if you want to do it.
And
she'll
as
have
long
a dog
as
in the
I
wedding
don't
if you want to.
As long as I don't not want to.
That's type 9 for you.
Sure.
Because you wouldn't have. You are not yes, I'm absolutely pro dog and wedding person. That wasn't you.
I wasn't pro or con. It was more circumstantial.
I can't quite understand being someone who does not have a pro or con stance on literally everything. Like, I know how I feel about everything, and I don't feel neutral about anything for the most part. Yeah. But that's you. I don't get it.
Welcome to type 9hood.
I really don't get it. Nor do I like it sometimes, to be frank.
I don't really understand type 4hood, so.
Or type 1.
Not really type 1 either. I don't have a lot of either of those. So, different wiring.
Okay. Different strokes for different folks. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess that's, I don't know what kind of update you wanted, but
it happened.
That's the update
it was good. I was happy with everything. It was exactly what I wanted. No real hitches. I think that's a good update.
I got multiple questions about your dress from pictures. Yeah. Multiple people asked if you had inherited it from someone because it looked like an older timey dress. Do you know what I mean?
It was like a classic kind of a.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it could have been your grandma's dress, but like not ugly, just like you refitted a dress from like a timeless 60 years ago or something.
Yeah, it wasn't modern, and it was not modern. Want that? It was a fall dress, so it was long sleeved lace, buttons all the way down the back, down the train. That was my favorite part.
A very wee train. It
was a very wee train.
Yeah. You're a wee person.
I was a wee person. It was a wee wedding. It would have been very silly to have like a super long train to walk down the aisle in front of 30 people. That wasn't the vibe.
Were there even 30 people there?
29 was the total.
Yeah. So no, there wasn't. The answer to that is no, there was not.
Unless you count the dog, in which there was 30.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I have a dog, and if I ever get married, she will not be there. And my dad will be pissed about that.
He will. He'll be like, I'm sorry. I was at Kristen's wedding and they had a dog and it worked great. So Scarlett should be there. He will want Scarlett to be there now that he's seen it. Great.
Great.
Just so you'll fight that battle.
He could walk me down the aisle on one arm and then the dog down the aisle on the other arm.
Oh yeah, he'd want to backtrack and walk her down the aisle too.
Oh no, I meant at the same time.
Oh, no, that's too much. I have a stance on that, and it's too much.
Okay, great. Love to find something you have a stance on. Okay, this is now a very long episode, so we will bid you adieu for now, and we will see you next Friday on Kristen's birthday, as a matter of fact, for a side chat, and it's going to be a good one. I mean, they all are. Hello, but it's. We're going to talk about 2021 and we're going to give you some food for thought about how to process the year you just had, as well as what's coming in 2022. And don't forget about the short course, saving some money on that bad boy
and
or
limited
bad gal,
time
or bad they, them.
Sure.
And
limited time single sessions.
Okay. That's
a wrap.
That's a wrap. Bye-bye.